This show is sponsored by Sevi, answering all your commercial real estate needs. Sevi is the first commercial real estate company committed to the 4 C's: commercial real estate, community, content, and culture. Go visit Sevi at Sevi, Sevi properties.com. Again, SeviProperties.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the DMV Business Show. I'm your host, Otto Sevilla, and today I have a very special guest for you. We have Colin Fraser. Colin is the CEO and President of Upling. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Otto. Thank you for the invite.
Of course, thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited. We've never had a business like you in the show out of
Yeah.
4 seasons, so I can't wait to get into it. But before we get into your personal and business journey, I like the audience to get to know the business because they're like, Upling, what do they do there? Obviously, they see your back screen, so they're like, huh, this looks interesting back there behind Colin. So what do you folks there do at Upling?
Yeah, and I'll start from the actual upling. If people are like, well, what is an upling? Where did you even get that name from, or what have you? So upling is a made-up word. We got that from the name generator. Just because we want to be unique and nobody could get the name, so we made it up. And quite frankly, what upling stands for, we want it to be the definition of cannabis delivery. So if you think about your Uber Eats or your DoorDash, you go on to the Upling app, you're able to see the dispensaries that are closest to you, pick whatever products you need. We'll send a driver, pick it up from the dispensary, drop it off to your doorstep.
Awesome. Wow. Okay, so basically it was just randomly it was made up and that's how you went with Upling?
Well, the name of it, right? So we did
Yes,
some
yes.
research behind it as far as like, you looked at Uber, some of the one word, two syllable meanings. Google, same thing as well too. So we looked at that and we said, well, let's do something like that. Also, I'm from Caribbean descent. I'm from Guyana. So the accent kind of when you hear the upling, like ting-a-ling-a-ling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how come we kind of stuck with that. But when you break down up and then ling, like if you do deep research in it, it actually means small plant. So we kind of hit it from all spectrums when we figured that out. Nobody owns the name. It's super unique. And basically, we wanted to deem upling as cannabis delivery. Like, what would it look like in the dictionary? And so to
Mhm.
qualify for the dictionary, it's like usage, how long it's being used, and how it's being used. So we're trying to make sure that we could do that so we could get upling in the definition in the dictionary and it be deemed for cannabis delivery.
Okay, that's great. You just mentioned, Colin, you're not, you're from the Caribbean. So you're not originally from the DMV area.
No, so from the Caribbean and then migrated here and spent most of my life here in Maryland, Montgomery County to be specific.
Okay. So you said you were born in Guyana?
Yeah.
Okay. How was it growing up in Guyana? If I can just take you back there for a moment, it's childhood.
Oh man, it was just like uh definitely not like here. Grew up, shoes, sandals were worn out. You could go outside and play whenever you want. Fresh fruit coming from the tree, walking to school. So like, you miss some of those things. I'll actually be traveling there in the next 2 weeks to get back there. So I think it's like how they say it, like in Jamaica, everything irie, like a chill vibe type thing. So,
Hmm.
it was
Everything
pretty good. We
relaxed in
had a
the
pretty good,
island.
yeah, we pretty had it good.
So besides school, do you remember like what were you into? I don't know if you were in any sports, any other
Oh man,
activities back home.
I was into tech, always into tech. So my
Oh,
father
really?
was an art, yeah, my father was an architect and he was big into computers and whatnot. And so you can act like any tech geek, any nerd. The first building blocks literally of kind of that venture is Legos. So I had Legos for days. So me and my father used to build Legos. We used to do the model cars that you use with the glue and that like sharp edge knife that you use. So
Hmm.
it's like 1,000 pieces, and you have to piece it together and glue each intricate piece together to create like this magnificent car or like a B-2 bomber. So we spent a lot of time doing those. And I think just the patience behind that and being able to build something always intrigued me. So like when it came further on in my career, when it came to like programming, like it was just amazing how like you could put code in the computer and get it to do what you wanted to do. So that was super, super cool for me.
With programming, were you self-taught or did you do any classes for it or?
Self-taught in the beginning, but what happened further on, I started building websites. And so I went to school for computer engineering and then started a website building company, which then turned into an app building company. And pretty much a good friend of mine, Timothy Craigett, who used to do coding, he was like, hey, look, um, I'm not going to do this anymore for you, so you're going to have to learn to do it. My bread and butter was networking. So I love networking, crimping wires, putting them together, making networks speak, um, checking packets and whatnot. So that was my biggest thing. I really didn't like programming, but then I came to love it more because that's what my clients requested. But then, like I said before, we just having the ability to make things talk across two different streams, two different networks or machines talk to one another to get it compliant to what you wanted to do.
And all this tech work you were doing, was this back in Guyana or here?
Well, here, the building blocks for it were like Legos and whatnot was over there. I came over here
Sure.
when I was pretty young. Yes, when I was like around 5 or 6. So
Oh, so
after
you
I
grew
came
up
over
here.
here,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So grew up here. So like most of my tech foundation came from here.
Okay. So and when you came here, you said you came to Maryland. So basically then all teenage years, everything was in Maryland.
Correct, correct, correct,
Okay. You graduated high school, I assume Maryland too?
correct, correct, correct.
And then after that, you said, did you go to school? You went to college afterwards or?
Yeah, so we did Montgomery College, and then it's Maryland Global now, but it was University of Maryland, University College back then. So it's like an online school after um, coming out of Montgomery College.
Hmm. Okay. So it was always tech then, and you know what happened? How did this, how did this whole business come about?
Ooh, so this is a good story. This is a good story. Buckle up. Um, so my mother got stage 4 cancer in 2000, right around the pandemic. We had found out she had stage 4 cancer, super progressive. And watching her try to get medication like after chemo, and then she's like, "Oh, I gotta just drive up the street to CVS or Walgreens or whatever the case may be." Like the struggle, it took like maybe an hour just to drive 2 miles up the street. I was like, that's super dangerous. I wonder if there's some way where we can get the medication to you. But then after trying to find delivery, there really wasn't. They had I think CVS, they did have it, but they didn't deliver within our area. And then also just some of the side effects from the drugs were just horrible. So you didn't know what was worse, just the chemo or the chemo medicine afterwards. I was like, this has to be a better way. So finally sat down with my mom and her doctor to say, like, hey, what about cannabis? I've heard that cannabis has been pretty good as far as helping people medicinally with cancer, PTSD, and other things as well too. And of course, first reaction, my mom was like, "Oh heck no!" She referred to cannabis as the devil's lettuce. But then to bring a backstory behind that, I was shot 8 times behind it. So shot 8 times and incarcerated. So I got shot in my face here. The bullet shot in my whole eye socket. I had a bullet come through the left side of my face, come out the right side, shot at my whole right side of my jaw. I got shot through my arm here, came out through here, shot again here, shot twice in my abdomen, shot in the back of the head. So I got shot 8 times. It was in DC, drove to Howard University, spent about like a week in the ER, whatever, Howard University. Then after that, I got taken in straight into incarceration. Because when they did the investigation, I had weed on me. So then that was another charge. So then they kept me, which is crazy after like I went through this traumatic thing and I'm still alive. And then it's like, well, we're gonna put you in jail until we figure it out. And so I was incarcerated in DC jail, and like that was tough. And that was awakening for me where like God really had his hand on me. I don't know anybody who's listening, if you're religious or not trying to put it on anybody, but like from right then and there, like my purpose, I knew exactly what I had to do. God kept me alive for a reason. My mom was in the church. I grew up in the church. And I just went off the wrong track, you know. After coming here, I grew up in a single family household and I wanted to provide, you know, for my household. So I went out in the street, did what I had to do, uh, to hustle and provide bills to have a better life for my family. And then ended up getting shot. After incarceration, I was released. After upon release, I was, you know, just finding time. I had to do rehab all on my own or what have you, and I felt so defeated. Like so much time has gone by where I needed, you know, to really fulfill my purpose. And so I went into prison ministry. You know, I was incarcerated with so many people who like been incarcerated for a charge that they already served time on. Like really good people. I know bad people. Like I've been in the streets, I've seen the worst of it, and I really know bad people. And I wasn't incarcerated with those type of people. And so I really wanted to make a difference. So I did 8 years of prison ministry. And after 8 years of prison ministry, then found out fast forward that my mom got cancer. And so convincing this woman now where, you know, cannabis really killed him, you know, as far as the lifestyle, et cetera, changing the stigma of this plant, right? Not only everybody saying it's bad for you, it's a gateway drug, you're gonna get high and get on crack and lose your life or whatnot, but it almost took her son and it kind of took her life upside down. So, you know, many meetings with the doctor. She was at the point now where it's like, look, I'll do anything now. So she realized when we went through the benefits, etc. And so I went ahead and build this out because I said, man, if I know my mom's not the only one with pancreatic cancer or any other type of cancer is suffering from, and she's showing really good um, effects from it. It's really helping her. So I wonder how many other people it would help as well too. So I got to work, built the app within maybe like 2 to 3 months. Went into the app store probably like within the next month. And like we were super aggressive with it just because like my purpose was saving my mother. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? We're just keeping her alive. Not only her, but then saving other people's lives as well too, for, you know, bringing them access to alternative medication. Because that's one thing I think that dispensaries don't do is target people who don't have the access to get there. So you're talking people, elderly people. You have veterans who suffer from PTSD, where they have anxiety driving to and fro. You have people who may have undergone surgery and they can't get up and drive somewhere. You're talking about areas where they don't even have bus transportation, so what have you. So, all this happened within the pandemic. We built this out, went to market, and it was definitely a slow roll. Just because people were evicting the houses, we had a hard time getting in contact with dispensaries because those initially all are our clients. And then with that too, going through the paperwork to get licensed, right? I think when we first got licensed, it was unbelievable to think that I was once incarcerated for this plan to now having a license to be able to distribute over 7,000 pounds of it in the state of Maryland. And we got a license in DC as well, too. I mean, is there's nothing short of like, if God did it for me, how much more could he do it for other people? And I think like the rest is history as far as like how far we've come as a tech company to now. We're actually teaching returning citizens coding, we're teaching them entrepreneurship. We hire them. I'm probably like one of the fewest dispensaries within Maryland, or if the only one who specifically says, hey, we hire you if you've been incarcerated. You know, we want to train you up due to this drug that was demonized. Now let's partner together so you could create livelihood for your family, you know?
Colin, what a story, man. I have to, there's so many ways, so many things I want to go into. So let's rewind back as how, this whole started, which is your time, incarcerated, right? Wow. Okay. So you got shot 8 times, man.
Times.
That is crazy. And
If
and
I
you
had to
said
tell you, like you wouldn't know.
you said multiple gunshots also in your head. You said also like your front and even your back you just mentioned, right?
Yeah, with a 45. I know people who got shot one time with a 45, and it was a wrap for them. They ended up dying. So you have what? Your 9 millimeter, your 22. then you have the 45. Then the next up is a Desert Eagle. So I think most people know what a Desert Eagle, a huge gun. Then the next one is a 45, where bullet alone would just wipe you out if once it hits you.
That's crazy. And then you said this was in DC, and was it a transaction gone wrong? Because I know you said you were, in the streets, you were selling. Is that how it came about?
Transaction gone wrong. And of course, you think that, oh, it never happened to you. You're on top of the world. This time I was incarcerated. I was like 19, 20 when I ended up getting shot. So I was running the streets like heavily. We were making around 1,600. We're getting about 8 to 1,600 pounds of cannabis from Thursday to Sunday. So we were moving pretty aggressively, pretty heavy. So I was like engulfed in the whole, drug trade situation. Cannabis was just booming. Hey, you think it's booming now? Because Maryland shows us $1 billion market. When you saw the black market numbers, it was booming. So
And this was you mostly were just focusing on selling, distributing cannabis, or was
that's
it?
it.
Okay,
Just
okay.
straight cannabis. So for us, it was that, you would think of like Costco as bulk, and you get it for pretty cheap if you're a consumer. So we were like the Costco to the Costco. We were getting it at bargain basement prices. Back then, cannabis was coming through, like crazy, like water. So we were able to distribute it super fast and super cheap.
Oh, so you were a distributor. You weren't really out on the street like selling it. Like,
Oh
okay,
no. We were
okay.
doing bulk numbers like 50, 100 at a time. So it wasn't like one-to-one type situation.
Wow, this is crazy. And this eight, I mean, were you alone? I mean, was it just one on you and one other individual?
Yeah, me and one other individual, and unfortunately, he lost his life, and I was able to jump in the car and drive to Howard University. So, maybe like around 6, 7 blocks away from the hospital.
And you said you were around 19 or 20 when this happened?
Correct, correct.
Okay. So, man, I'm happy you're here because I mean,
Yeah.
if you talk about like 50 cents, he talks about being shot. This is like times 10.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know
yeah.
how many, I don't know how many, how many,
So I think it was like 8, 9. So we run a competition. So yeah, I think
not
he
a
may
good
have.
competition, right?
Right, 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 right. Definitely wouldn't want to run that race again. But yeah, I think it's around there, and it's just so interesting that when you have people, one thing when we did the prison ministry is we talked about people not only in the Bible who've been incarcerated, but people outside like Nelson Mandela and other people who'll be incarcerated, how they were just elevated straight to the top, where they went under like a molding, like they really went through the fire so they could come out for a time such as this, right? To be able to help others, to be able to do good in their community, to be able to help people out. So, definitely it was for a reason. Yeah. I wish I could have took a different track to do the same thing, but I was extremely hard-headed,
Hmm.
and we got here. Definitely a blessing to still be here. So like from when I got shot in 2008, like everything after 2008 is just bonus for me. I think of it like, the Super Mario with the one up. I had a chance to hit that one up, and now it's just like off to the races,
How long were you incarcerated for?
about 2 years.
Okay, okay. And it was during those 2 years that I guess you found, I guess, your calling, God or whatever it was, because you said you did 8 years of prison ministry, right?
Right, right, right. Just because it was just that, you're sitting in the jail cell and you're like super angry. I didn't know how bad it was. They just punished me up and then I was taken straight to jail. It wasn't until like one night. So DC jail, depending on where you are, there's just cemetery. So like when you look out your window, cemetery, like as far as you could look left to right, as far as you could go. And so for me, that was like a reminder every day, like this is where you would have been, like in this crown here. And so staring at that for 2 years, it really did something to me and um just super grateful. And just knowing that I had to give back, like no matter what the calling is or whatever, like it's mandatory. I knew that was my purpose for coming back here and changing the mindset of others to say, like, hey, like God loves you, you're better than what you're doing, and let's do better in our community and help lift up one another.
When you left and you came out after those 2 years, how easy or hard was it as far as because I know now one of the great things you do is you employ people who did serve time before, right? How easy was it for you or hard, finding something? I know was you said tech, so I don't know, did tech come after that or was it before that? Um,
Man, I was always involved in tech even before. It was always just piqued my interest. But I would say that it was the crazy part is I got employed by the federal government like not too soon after that. So it's crazy. Like when I had my sheet of coming out of incarceration, it was like Colin Fraser versus the United States of America. And I never seen that in my life. Like, damn, the only United States wants to bury me, you know. To now working for the federal government was the craziest thing.
that
And
is
it was
crazy.
just, yeah, it was just based on the relationships that was built after that. You know, I was just super humble, super eager. And the crazy part is after I came out, I still had like proceedings to be on probation and whatnot. So I was still like fighting through that. So I think the biggest challenge that a lot of people don't talk about is mentally, right? When you go through as an individual, whether you have imposter syndrome, like, man, am I worthy enough to even apply for this job? Can I even do it? Should I check that box? How do I be able to communicate that? But I just gave it up to my maker and like he just made a path for me and I just walked into it. So as much as I want to say it was hard, it was easy, I was guided. I was guided to go where I needed to go. I went into the footsteps I needed to go into, and now I'm reaching back, able to reach back and help people through the same thing. So then with that, then I went back into school and then started heavily just trying to learn more, right? In the tech part. The tech just changes so often. So like you have to keep up on that.
That's amazing because I mean I don't know the statistics. You probably may know more than I do as far as the percentage of individuals that go back to prison and jail right
Mm.
after coming out. It's crazy high, and I'm happy that you found your way, and it was the opposite. You're a great example.
So disheartening because we do work at the pre-release center here in Montgomery County, and we teach a class there about entrepreneurship. And we're talking with one of the deputy directors for program, and he was like, sometimes they may not retain it, and they may not get it until the third time they come through here. I'm like, third time? Like, why would you want to come back here the third time? And that's like 70 to 80% of these people who come through it, they return right back in. But then what Maryland is doing now, especially for returning citizens, is they're really taking a deep dive and a look at why is this the case. Let's look at their environment, right? Let's look at their structure. Let's look at their education. Let's even look at what they're consuming as far as food deserts. Why are they acting like this, right? And when we sat down one day, we did like a group setting with some people who are incarcerated. You had somebody who came out of jail, who was working on probation, and they had a ticket but they couldn't pay. And because of pride, he didn't ask anybody for more hours or to pay it. So then he ended up driving one suspended license. So then he ended up losing his job. So then he ended up back in the streets. So he ended up right back in incarceration from like a $50 fine. Like he didn't have like a mentor or somebody to say like, hey man, I can't pay this week because I got bills or what have you. It was such a roller coaster and it's such an eye opener, but a lot of people don't know that. So, being able to really dig deep in and to help individuals get the resources that they need, especially in this industry, you know what I mean? Where it's like it was built on the backs of us, for us getting shot at, for us being incarcerated.
Hmm.
And then you have when they legalized in 2016, of course, the people who got the license don't look like me, you know?
Hmm.
So you had a lot of white people who were able to put forth the $2, $3 million to stop and start a dispensary. You think they look back at us or anybody who was incarcerated that helped build it? We're the last thought.
And for the app that you have, do you have to have the same license as they do as a dispensary?
No, so there are four particular transportation licenses that the state of Maryland issues. So one is delivery service for that, which I have. There's disposal where you pick up cannabis waste. There's a laboratory for testing, and then there's secure transport for like big bulk when you're picking up from dispensaries to picking up from farms to dispensaries. So we have a license from farm dispensary, from dispensary to the people, but we focus more so on B2C with transporting to the customers.
Okay. It, it it's I love the story how it all started with your mom and the need for her to actually get it right. With the coding you said, Colin, you were doing it for several months. Were you just on your own just doing it? Was that easy? Did that come pretty easy for you as far as the coding and setting up the whole app and making it live, or did you have any help with all that?
That came pretty easy just with the networking piece that I already knew about. And so, for instance, we had to put together and had the developer team that I work with put together an SOW for me, statement of work, so I could see each line of code to see what it would do. And I think that's one of the things that I had the knowledge of that helped us fast track the build. So I could see as they were coding, I could say this line is not going to work because it's going to break here, right? This line of code here is not going to work because it's going to do that. So when you talk about if then statements, like if then statements was the pinnacle of AI, right? That's what AI, the building blocks of that. And so being able to build that, like a retro, like that's what helped us get through even quicker than anybody else. We were off to the races. And then one thing, if anybody's excited, is like, yeah, we want to do the same thing or get somebody to build an app to do it. I'll tell you one thing, it's not only building the app, but then getting it through the app stores. There's so many different policies, etc., that you have to go through. I think that was one of the hardest part is submitting our app into Apple, where they declined us about 8 times. And they said, look, if you submit again, we're just going to ban you from the Apple Store and you can't get in, period. So we really, my developers really did a good job, and we were on the medical side, and that's where we kind of promote more so, right? We
Hmm.
want this plant right here for people to be known as medicinal, right? We want them alternative medication, not just to like get high, buzzed out your brain, or whatever the case may be, to like really help you with sciaticus, PTSD, nerve damage, sickle cell. There's so many different things that it helps you with CBD as well too. So we just want to educate people. So that was the biggest shift for us.
Before you went live on the App Store, I'm sure you had to find first, I guess, dispensaries or farms or whoever it was to be able to provide you the product in order then for you to sell to the end consumer, right?
Yeah, so so that's a funny story. So that was like one of the hardest things, guerrilla marketing. We would say, hey, can we speak to the supervisor or the manager? And they're like, yeah, I'm the manager. They'll take the card and literally throw it in the trash. So one
And this
thing
is you
we
going
started
directly to a dispensary or to where exactly?
straight to the dispensary
Okay,
to get
okay,
them to
got it.
buy into us because I built this thing now and I was like, man, I got the biggest and baddest thing since sliced bread. It doesn't even exist. So they should be flying off off the app store, right? It's like, well, one thing in the cannabis market is all relationships. And that's one thing I realized in entrepreneurship. You can have the biggest and best, whatever. If they don't know you, they're not buying from you. So going to the dispensary, hey, can we speak to the manager, what have you? And we realized we weren't getting to the decision makers. So one thing that we did for marketing is we had like 10, 12 people call into one dispensary and say, hey, do you guys deliver to Upling? Do you guys deliver through Upling? Do you guys use delivery through Upling? So it created this buzz. So then the manager's like, man, what was this Upling? Like, maybe we should consider Upling. So by the time we went into the store, they knew or heard about it, so whatever the case may be. And that worked. We got some steam rolling there. But then one thing I realized, I was like, you know what? Let's start looking at some of these conferences because we need to be the subject matter experts in delivery, which we are. Because we're the only ones who are doing this in Maryland. Still to this day, we're the only one that has an app. Still to this day, we're the only one who has an app like this on the East Coast, right? So we started applying to go to the conferences. And now the decision makers, we couldn't even find them are looking literally at us at a stage talking about this delivery service and how it works. And they're like, where have you been all this time? I'm like, we've been to your shop out 6 times, bro. Like, so that's really turned for us. And then now, since the mission has really been the mission, which is helping the community, helping the returning citizens. Being able and accessing people who are wanting to come into your dispensary but don't have the ability to. And when we started to package that and show this to some of the dispensaries, it really caught their eye. I mean, we had a dispensary where we sat in their parking lot and parking lot was full and watched people drive in one entrance and drive out the other just because there was no parking space to it. When we showed them this, we were like, look at your camera between 10 a.m. just to 11, or even rush hour, people coming from work. They want to get their stuff and go home. And if they can't get it, they're on to the next one. And your parking lot is full. We have the ability for a driver to come pick up and that's out within what, maybe 2, 3 minutes, and the
Mhm.
person could still be home cooking dinner, studying for a test, you know, able to watch their favorite show and still have the same ability to get their medical cannabis.
When you mentioned the conferences, Colin, is you're, I guess, presenting right in the conference, and then they're seeing you on stage, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, where have you been after all this time you've been
Right.
knocking on their door trying to get their attention?"
Yeah, definitely, man. I'll tell you one thing, like with selling drugs illegally, or if one gift that guy gave me was the hustle. Oh, I love the hustle. So like I would find a way by hook or by crook. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna
Yeah,
get through that. I'm gonna get through that front door. So that that tenacity that I have that reported to Upling still stays the same because not only I'm fighting for this business, but I'm fighting for those who don't have the ability to get the medication that they need.
that's amazing. I mean, all these dispensaries, I mean, owners, they should love you because now this is customers that maybe they're home because of medical reasons or for whatever reason. Maybe they just don't want to go out. I mean, all the demand, especially with the increase of COVID with Uber Eats and DoorDash and all these deliveries. And you're basically just that, but for the medicinal marijuana space, right? So
Yeah, and dispensaries don't track that data. That's the thing. They just want to see how much of their product is flying off the shelves. I'll give you this. You ever heard of a company called Drizzly?
that name rings a bell.
So Drizzly is a alcohol delivery app
Okay.
sold to Uber for $1.1 billion worth of, right? So here's how their trajectory went like this and ours went like this, right?
Okay.
So they were the same thing, opened up around COVID. And as you remember, like people were drinking alcohol like crazy, right? And the laws have changed. The only way you can get distribution of alcohol, you have to have a distributor license that would pick up from a manufacturer and bring it to a liquor store. Same exact thing with cannabis. There were so many laws and regulations where that couldn't happen. Imagine COVID was 2000 and it was only for medical purposes. You couldn't do recreation, which means you need to get a medical marijuana card. So a doctor had to say, yeah, you have need a use for it. We'll prescribe you a card. Now, Maryland, all you need is a 21 age of ID to be able to go in and get cannabis now, which they didn't have that before. So, and we're still going through a lot of laws, et cetera, or just trying to navigate the space versus when it came to alcohol, they said, okay, we'll take that lift off to give the ability for regular people to distribute alcohol now. And that was a huge pivot for Drizzly. I mean, when they were up and running, of course, through COVID, certain areas you couldn't even deliver in. But the model was so basic, the demand for alcohol was so great, it just caught fire, sold for $1.1 billion. So we're trying to follow in that same footsteps, but we just got really slapped with all those regulations and whatnot. So
And for your model, you could only deliver where you have licenses, correct?
no, so I could deliver throughout the whole state of Maryland. Now we have a license in DC, which works like an Amazon hub center, where we have a brick and mortar, but only my drivers will come in and pick up. We also do delivery in New York, New Jersey, New Mexico, Texas, and also Jamaica. So they just use our platform and they have the delivery license and they use it same way like a Uber Eats, Instacart. As long as we're connected to the dispensaries that have the license, then they use our platforms to just run distribution.
Is there a way you can go national?
Yeah, there's a way is all the way connecting to the dispensaries. As long as we
Okay.
connect to a dispensary that has a delivery license, then we're a go.
Oh, so so your connection is really not you as far as getting licensed in any all these different states. It's just the dispensary, your connection with the dispensary, and then they want to use your platform.
Correct. That has that ability to do delivery. So since we reside in Maryland, it makes sense just for the company to have the delivery license here. We
Hmm.
don't have to rely on a dispensary to have license because Maryland also changed the specs on that as well too. Not every dispensary is able to have a delivery license, but in other states you could get like a full vertical. So you could have a retail, a grow, a manufacturer, and a delivery license all underneath one brand, one business.
I see. What would you say drives and motivates you the most, Colin?
Oh man, just helping people who are once like me. It's that's my motivation. Like I really felt like we were able to extend my mom's life and to see how far we've come there. Last year, when my mom passed away in October of 2024, we did the first inaugural DC Startup Week. 2 years ago, we won DC Startup Week as a tech company, which blew my mind. They had some awesome, awesome companies out there to have a cannabis. We're a tech company with a cannabis license, and not a lot of people understand that. And judges did since then, just really catapulted us. Tima, who was the one of the co-founders of DC Startup Week, we got together and I said, hey, like we would love to feature cannabis in DC because there's just so much tech that goes into cannabis. If you don't have tech in your cannabis business, you will fail. People think it's just as easy as putting a seed in the ground and growing it. It's such a bigger road than that, down to the mechanics that goes into the seed, the watering, the air pressure, the temperature, etc., because it's a living organism that you're growing, right? And it's going
Hmm.
for consumption. So it really needs to be regulated in a way where you need that technology to go through every step to figure out it's getting the same yield that people are going to consume. So we're doing DC Startup Week. We had over 1,700 people who came out to our track alone last year to see how tech works in cannabis. And it was just amazing. And it was like, I didn't do this in vain. We did it for people like my mom who are going through pain, who are suffering in silence. We're doing it for people who are incarcerated for the same cannabis that they can't get a job from. They're scared to click that check box or whatever that they've been charged or what have you. Like we welcome them. We want to give them a fresh new start, give them education in the cannabis and in entrepreneurship, what it takes to go ahead and beat out the rest.
Yeah, that's great. I'm sorry for your mother's loss, Colin.
Thank
Um,
you.
you were mentioning, several times as far as giving opportunities to people who were formerly incarcerated. How do you go about finding your team and finding the right people?
Oh man, we partner with great partners like Georgetown Pivot Program that runs a 9 month cohort out of incarceration. They teach them the basics of entrepreneurship, and then we been in on a couple classes, and they get to intern for me. So once they intern for me, then we have the ability to hire them straight from the class. Another one is Career Shop DC. So we partner with Career Shop DC where they train up those who've been incarcerated, soft skills, interview skills, etc. um, Morta, which is it's crazy. DC designated a whole agency for returning citizens, which is awesome. So and then two with people that we come in and interact with, if we're doing a speaking engagement, I'll have somebody come and say, "Hey, man, my brother's incarcerated. He's coming out," and I'm like, "Give me his number. Give me his email. Let's keep in contact." And we actually follow up. 'Cause that's like that's my mission. Like, I don't get paid for that and that's something I must do. So if I get called to speak here or be an engagement there, like I drop everything on there because that's why I'm here for. That's what my second chance is here for, to help those who feel like they don't have that second chance.
That's great. So if someone goes into Upling, they come in and obviously it gives you your location. You're located here, and then it gives you, I guess, it gives you all the local dispensaries nearest you. Is that what it does?
Correct. So once you download the app, it geolocates where you are and it'll list out all the dispensaries that are close to that location. And then you could search other things as well too. We're working with AWS right now to build in a recommendations section on it. So you'll be able to come in here, I have a headache or I have PTSD, what should I use? And so we'll be able to match through cannabis to what you need specifically. That's one of the hardest things where people go into the dispensary and they're like, oh, I want to try this gummy, but they're doing it based upon what the person on the other side is, and people's, mechanics are just different. So here's a chance for you to go in and put in your own issues, and we'll be able to spit out what you should have that will work specifically for you.
Oh, that's great. It gives you suggestions like that. So let's say once you choose a dispensary nearest you, you click on that, and then it gives you all the different products you can. It's like online shopping per se.
Exactly. And we take Google Pay, Apple Pay. The checkout, so the checkout is probably half the time you would we're actually going to the register to check out there. So it works just like an Instacart where you could go shopping, whatever's online or in the store, you could do this through the app. We also have a referral program within the profile where you could share the link for somebody else to use. And once they buy, you get money in your wallet to go shopping. So like, how much better is that? You get have a chance to get free weed, like for real, for real. So we want
Oh,
to
that's
give you all the
great.
opportunities.
So they check out in your app, and then basically they pay Google like whatever, and then it tells you, okay, your purchase will be arriving in. Typically, I'm sure it depends. Well, what's the wait time?
So it depends, like you said. So what happens? Let's go through it. So you'll go and you'll pick the product you want. You'll pay for it. What it does is sends a ping out to all the first the store approves it. They look at the order, say, yeah, we have this, we approve it. And now it sends a ping out to all the drivers within the area. I think we have it set onto like a 25-mile radius. So that when they set that, send a push notification out to all the drivers within that area to say, hey, there's a delivery from here to here. Do you want it or not? So now my drivers get to pick and look at the order and say, okay, um, I'll get paid X amount if I pick up this order. The driver goes into the store, hey, pick up for Upling, and they announce themselves, and we have the order number that's there. And so as they do it within the app, the driver indicates when they're on the way, when they pick up, and when they're on the way. So we took out that feature where you could literally track where the driver is, just for safety concerns, right? You don't
Hmm.
want anybody, I guess that's a hustler of me, right? I don't want anybody tracking me now to figure out where I am to like steal from me or what have you. That's the great thing about our app is that there's no cash transaction. That's one thing the dispensary didn't was amazed about. Like transaction is already final by the time it gets to them. So now it's just dropping off the cannabis to them. They'll ring the doorbell. They're asked to verify the ID. Because the only way you could buy, you have to upload your ID, medical ID, so you can verify it's you. And then now Maryland did this great thing where there's an app where you can scan and actually verify somebody's ID in real time. So our drivers have that. So we're able to verify that's who it is, and then we hand them their package, and then that's it. So like it's a super discreet service. Um, depending, so like in DC, somebody order rush hour, of course, will take you like an hour and a half to get to you, like 2 hours just because of that. But usually we have drivers set up all over the place. So, your average probably around 45 minutes to an hour. You'll be able to get your product.
And how does Upling get paid?
So about three ways you get paid. The dispensary pays a stipend to us. We get paid, we upcharge on every product, and then also through advertising. So we have over 53,000 people on the app right now. And so we send out push notifications. So dispensaries will pay a little bit extra. So we have a three-tier mechanism. So every month you either pay 420, 840, or 1,500 every single month. At 1,500, it's like a full concierge service because we have a POS in the back end. So we'll upload all your product. We'll do push notifications out to all our customers, and you'll have like ad space, versus like at the 420 model, you'll only be able to upload only 10 products. You'll have outreach out to maybe 1,000 customers at a time, so.
So I guess for you, marketing goes both ways. You have, excuse me, you have to market to both the end consumer for them to know to download that app, and then
Oh
also
yeah.
market to the dispensary as well, so they can use your platform and app, right?
Right. That's been one of the hardest things because our message, like a couple years ago, we did a lot of guerrilla marketing, was download, download, down the app. So they downloaded it and it would just sit on their phone for ages and they wouldn't use it. So we're like, "Huh, we gotta tell them to download and then use it." So then we partner with the dispensaries, like, hey, let's put some perks in where like, hey, you'll get extra if you deliver versus if you come into the store, right?
Hmm.
So, and I'll tell you, like, one of our busiest seasons is football. Football season, when I did the research, I'm like, damn, this is because it's cold. No, football has what, 16 to 18 games a year, and it's the top grossing sport in the United States with the least amount of games, which is crazy. The fans have definitely progressed. You have a lot more women buying. So when that 4 hours of the game, nobody is leaving their house anymore. They're glued in. They got some most of the dedicated fans, and it's just awesome to see. So hey,
So probably the best day for you, Colin, is fall and winter Sundays.
definitely. Playoffs Saturdays, then when you have college football, etc. So it's like the whole weekend. People order Friday to prepare for so they're ready for Friday or Saturday for Saturday Sunday games. So
Okay, that's interesting. What advice would you give someone if they want to open their own business? Maybe not in tech, maybe not in the cannabis space, any industry. Now that you've gone through this the last few years, what pointers would you give that person?
um you gotta be able to pivot. I think like we built our foundation so strong where like we had some cases where we are almost getting ready to shut down because of the laws on delivery. They only put out a delivery license, and of course we didn't get it. So we fought hard to say, hey, that's not fair. We need a license. But in the meantime, we pivoted over to this AI recommendation, right? Where we're collecting a lot of data that dispensaries aren't collected. And now we look more profitable to the John Hopkins, to the NIH researchers, to the AstraZenecas or what have you, who are trying to figure out what does cannabis do to people, and what people putting in what they buy and what we're recommending to them, it shows them. And we're collecting a lot of data that other people aren't doing within the dispensaries. So being able to build a firm foundation, cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure your foundation is tight, and then make sure you build it in a way where if this shuts down, you're able to pivot in a way this. So that's one thing I see a lot of entrepreneurs have tunnel vision and they want to just solve that one problem. And I think our one problem helped a plethora of things. So we're able to pivot in different directions. If one day we weren't able to do delivery, what else could we do now? We have
Hmm.
data we could sell that we could help people with.
You also mentioned earlier, Colin, you have the license to transport from farm to dispensary, right?
Correct.
I guess, and you said you did go that route because you said the focus is on the B2C, on the dispensary to the end consumer. Why'd you choose that? I mean, I know it spoke to your mother and everything, but is there are there more players in the B2B as far as the transportation from the farm to dispensary, or are there less or more?
So, so you think about it, when you look at the numbers, there may be like 120 dispensaries now. Out of those 120 dispensaries, you maybe have a quarter of them who actually are able to grow. So let's say 20, maybe 15 growers, right?
Hmm.
So, and that may happen like once a week, right? That you would do from one of the 20 to one of the 120 dispensaries versus, and that's like a one-time charge. They'll pay X amount of money from that one-to-one, and that's it. Versus we make the most money on the more products in the park. So we get paid for the dispensary being on monthly, right? And we get paid per item. So it was just
Oh
it,
yeah, it's
yeah.
yeah. From monetization standpoint, definitely. Yeah, I see it. It makes complete sense. What would you say is your biggest challenge with your role today with Upling?
Sorry, repeat the question again. Froze.
What would you say is your biggest challenge with your role today at Upling?
Uh, some of the legal things that we still have to go through with transportation. I think our delivery license is still, so we have the ability to deliver medical, but not recreation. So we're fighting to be able to do recreation. Like, what's the difference between a medical plant and a recreation plant? Nothing at all. It's the same plant, right?
Hmm.
It's just that person's ability to get more or less of a higher potency of it or higher quantity of it. So it's the same plant. It's just how you categorize it, which is silly. So it's just the laws is our hardest thing we're fighting. Just I think the lack of understanding within the cannabis market to some of the lawmakers is something we constantly have to go back to, spend a lot of time on.
What do you know now that you wish you would have known at the start of your business career?
Relationships. Like I said earlier, it doesn't matter how good it is. It's the relationships that you build would take you so far, valuing somebody, valuing efforts and their integrity to be able to do business with them. So like I wish I learned that early on instead of having such a big ego and say, oh, I sold drugs for over 10 years. I know how to do this. Right? But these people don't know that. They don't really care. They want to
Hmm.
make sure that it's going to make them money, right? And they want to make sure that they're doing it with a person that they trust.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Coming to an end here soon, are there any specific habits or traits you feel that have helped you, whether it's on the business side of things or just personally?
Man, being able to network, it could be so awkward. You know, you get put in a room. I think those are one of the attributes you really, really have to learn to do well. And it's like it's an ongoing thing. So like going in pitch competitions, we got a pitch competition coming up next Wednesday. No matter how big or small you are, being able to articulate your business to different crowds and know your audience.
And the reason that you like to enter or you want to do pitch competition is for to get the word out, to get the capital, or
To get the word out, because quite honestly, Oda, like when we go into these pitch competitions, like we lose so many of them, but just because when people hear cannabis, it turns them off and like they don't even give us the opportunity, which is crazy to us. And so, we just built the mindset, look, we're in front of 100, 200 people, at least now they know about us. And we could do a call to action to get them to download it. And usually I walk with like a little knapsack that has some giveaways in there. So it's like, hey, look, download the app right now. Come see me after this, and I'll give you a free grinder or what have you. So like that's the main priority. If we win, it's an added bonus, and we just take it from there. So
but right now, let's say if you want to download the app, you could only really use the app you mentioned because if you need it for medical purposes, right? But for recreational purposes, are you not able to do that at the moment?
um, not in Maryland or DC. You have to have your medical card in order to purchase from us. Yeah, so
Okay.
you have to, if you're a medical patient, you upload your card and we'll be able to deliver straight out to you.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Is there any question or maybe something that I must have missed out or something you want to highlight, Colin?
Um, I think it's just been an awesome ride. And then one of the things is we're on some boards that really, really helps. So like we're on the Cannabis Advisory Board for Howard County. We're on the Reinvestment Board, and that's from taxes from cannabis companies to help put into programming. We're on which is crazy, we're on the Maryland State Police Training and Standard Board, assigned by the governor. And when I got there, I was like, "You sure you got the right person? Like, did you do your background check?" It is crazy because that particular group, um, they take away or give certifications for police officers. So I'm like, I have the right to to hire or fire, but
Uh-huh.
it's pretty cool. So, I just really thank God like where we started from to where we come. A lot of people say, oh, enjoy the process. Me, I just wanna ride off in the sunset on my yacht, sell the company off, and be a philanthropist and give all my money away to returning citizens and people who need it. So, just thankful for all the people who supported Upling. If you don't know about this, go to your app store, download Upling right now for safe consumption. Also, we started a CBD vending machine company called Blissbox that we're getting ready to put CBD vending machines at BWI Airport and Hartsfield Airport and Airlines. So those of you who have anxiety getting on the plane, those of you who have inflamed joints, will have rubs in their tensions. If you have those hyper dogs, you have CBD trees that you'll be able to use for that. We have some people who, as soon as they come off their plane, their knees are aching and they can't walk from the plane to baggage claim, so they're rubbing on their knees. So,
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah.
What does the next couple of years look like for you? What are you most excited about?
Oh man, really. geeking out on this AI stuff and getting that precision recommendation for people to get safe access to cannabis that could help them specifically with their needs. We want to be able to help more people with that, get it more precision, do bigger and better things with that. We're helping people get access to cannabis.
That's great. Last question, Colin. When you're not busy working, what do you like to do for fun in your free time?
Yeah. But crazy enough, I love to drive. I do deliveries myself, but like driving is my like I could sit and drive. So like I'm from the Caribbean. If they had a road from here to Guyana, I would drive it. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, I just like driving, man. Put on my music and I can hit the road for hours.
Oh wow. I'm like the opposite. Not that I hate driving, but I was telling my wife as far as doing road trips with the family, I was like the most I can do four. I've done to North Carolina, which is about 6 hours or so with a couple stops with the kids. Like anything more than that is just I don't want to be behind the wheel for so long.
With other people, I get it. I don't want to be. I think when I first met my wife, I had a two-door. And of course that changed because I didn't want anybody else in my car. I didn't want anybody else telling me what to do. So that's why I had a two-seater. So I totally get it.
Yeah, yeah. Colin, thank you so much for joining me today. If people want to learn more, want to go to download the app, where can they go to? It's by the way, it's spelled Upling, Upling.
Correct, correct. A lot of people when they see it, they say uplink. I don't know why they say that, and I had a scare like, do we need to change it or how do we do? But I appreciate that. So they could just Google us. We're in the App Store, Google, Play Store, Uplink. Also, if you want to drive for us, we have awesome opportunities. We start out at $17 an hour. Some people get paid up to $84 per delivery. So it's really lucrative. Come join our team. We would love to have you and from your dispensary to doorstep.
Awesome. Thank you again, Colin. Take care.
Appreciate it, Ola.